There we go. I didn't hear recording in progress.
Me neither.
Should I try it again?
Maybe you found them, I
Record.
don't hear anybody.
Pause recording, stop. It's recording.
Go for it.
Okay. I didn't hear anything. So, how you doing, Gabby? Oh, good to see you. Oh, maybe I'm muted. I don't hear anybody. Oh, maybe you're muted. Wait.
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm unmuted.
Oh,
You
you're
hear?
muted. Okay, very good. Good to see you. Nice to see you, Gab.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
great. So now, we're remembering that when you're saying ani yud kevavke, that means we should think of it. Ani yud kevavke means I'm eternal, right? God's eternal, right? Forever. So that's going to be important in saying when I decide the time is right, right? I'll be the one who makes the call, so to speak, not you. You're finite, and you can't see you can't see where this is going,
That's a
right?
very paradoxical statement of the God who's infinite has setting time,
Right.
where he doesn't have time.
Well,
He is not, there is no
No,
time in his
he's heading within your
existence.
yeah, but no, he's functioning in your time. Is functioning in your time, right? So what's going to happen at the center of Tehillim? Remember, we're at the center. Remember, everything. Let me say better than that. Better than that. Everything. Whenever we're at a center point, the center point is the emphasis of everything, the main emphasis.
Yeah.
By the way, there are multiple ways to emphasize a thing in a text. You could start it with a point. You could center it when you come to the center, the main, or you could close, right?
Or you could put in a.
Or you could do all three. You could
Or you
open
could
up,
put it-
your main point could be the opening point. And then you talk, and then you hone in on it at the very center of your presentation. And then at the end of your presentation, you come back to it to close on it. That's a way of emphasizing.
Numerical value of some point of the name of the word or whatever.
Yeah, no, I meant then when you're presenting, if you're talking to a group of people.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Meaning is
I
what?
meant like that.
The number
Yeah.
of the next layer.
Yeah, right. But just like when you do it that way, that's how Tehillim is doing it. When it'll open up, the opening words are going to say a lot about what the book is about, because if you remember in the first Mizor, after Ish Asher Lo Halach, etc., it's not the case they're bad guys, and then he turns to the leadership, right? And how they're not accepting what God and his anointed one, meaning the Navi, that's how we explain, are saying. And then he says, "V'atem Elohim," he starts talking to them. He opens up after he gets his calling, right, and to go out and to make these what you're going to call
Proclamation.
what do you say, criticisms, right? When he's going to go and criticize and the leadership for what they've done. Well, they're all a bunch of thugs, right? And then so that's what it's all about. It's the corrupt leadership, the corrupt political leadership, corrupt religious leadership. When we come to the middle of the book, we're going to come back to the main idea. The main idea is that it has brought about destruction. It has brought about very, 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 very bad things have resulted, right? And now the Navi implores, it begs Hashem to back off, using everything in his power to get God to be merciful. And the answer is, it's not happening. on your time frame. Ani Hashem, right? So last week I showed you all the Ani Hashems in the Torah, right? The 80 of them, right?
Yes.
So why are there 80 of them? Because God is in the covenant. Because everything that's connected with the symbolism of A is connected with the fact that the covenant is in effect. The covenant is in effect. It's working, and he will come through, but based on what Hashem says is the time frame, the schedule, how it's going to be done, and so on and so forth. So at the very center point, that idea is not essential. It's the point. What are you going to have more important than that? You're going to get to the middle of the Torah, and you're going to have Ani Hashem 52 times, 2 times 26 times in Vaikra, and Kedoshim is going to have it 16 times, and it's going to be 8 times Ani Hashem and 8 times Ani Hashem Elokechem, and it's going to redefine holiness, right? With what kind of definition, Mars? How does it redefine holiness? What does it say holiness is?
Is awareness of God
And
action in God towards that
what
God's
kind of
purposes.
actions to do?
Ethical,
Right,
moral
the 10
activities.
Commandments, right?
Yeah,
So you're
social
gonna see-
justice.
All of it's going to be nothing more than extensions of the 10 Commandments, clearly grouped together with the objective of being an extension of 6, or 7, the 2 opening ones. That's literally quoting 5:4, and it's quoting the Ishimor V'Torah in complete reverse, right? Total reverse, which is the way of the Torah's quoting other locations. You take all the literary elements. Let's hear the example. Ish imor v'abiv tira'u. So over there, kabet abicha v'etimecha. So kabet is first, tira'u is at the end. Abicha v'emecha ish imor v'abiv is mother and father, right? And instead of saying kabed, the opening tira'u is the last one. Ish imor v'abiv tira'u. It should be, and of course, tira'u is what you'll say synonymous with kabod, right? To be in, it's taking the term and it's either extending it or saying it in another form. Reverence, you're in awe of them. Doesn't mean be afraid of them, of course. Yada never means in these senses afraid. It means awe, right? So you honor. So when you honor someone, you're in awe of them, and so on and so forth. I don't have to go into more
Now we got it.
detail than that. So that being the case, the focal point, the center point becomes critical at this to say, this is what it's all about. You have a God, and he gave you fair warning. That's 75, right? Right? I told them, and you didn't listen. And then I stated in no uncertain terms that the ramifications would be disastrous,
Yep.
and they were.
Right.
Let me put on these new glasses now and open up to 75, just so we
Come on. Right.
remind ourselves of those words for a second,
Come on.
right? And you're gonna have to drink the bitter cup.
Yep.
And we show how the bitter cup, of course, comes up with Yirmiyahu, of course, Biad Adonai, right? Kelohim Shofet Zeh Yashpil V'Zeh Yarim, which is a reversal of fortunes. Where do you see, by the way, Zeh Yashpil V'Zeh Yarim? Where do you see the classic reversal of fortunes? Pray you say many times. Tefilat Hana.
Okay.
Hana, right? Right? You don't remember? Really? Go.
I'll try and come after that.
I'll just read I'll just read those words. Go to chapter 2, verse 1. Vatipalel Hana, right? Rama Karni, etc. Al Terbu Tedebru Geboha. Geboha is exactly like Amati laholalim al tarimu kare, right? Don't be egotistical, and over here it's don't talk giboha. What does the word gevoa mean? That's correct. You say attack kill the ordinai, and then keshet giborim hatim. Now we see reversal. Keshet giborim, the bow of the giborim hatim are broken, smashed. V'nichshalim as ruhalim. Those that are stumbling are girded in strength. Seviim balehem niskaru. Whoever has English can read it if you want. Seviim balehem niskaru. The people who are full with food, with bread, are now bereft of right. They're
once satiated.
right. Ulevim hadelu, and the ones who are were hungry, were starving.
Right.
On it ended. Ad akaraya l'shivah, the one who was a barren gave birth to 7 Rabat Banim, the one who had many children. Umlala is left childless, right? Adonai, here you go again. Memit hayeh.
Deals out death.
Morid sheol vayal. Those words you all know them. Take it down and brings up.
Yeah.
Adonai morish umashir. Go ahead, Abby. You could say that.
Impoverishes and enriches,
Mashpil afmiromen.
humbles and exalts.
Mekim me'afardal.
Lifts the poor from the dust,
Mashport bimyon.
raises the needy from refuse heap.
Right. And then it ends up lo shivim minadivim.
Seats them besides nobility,
V'chisei chavod yanchilem.
bequeaths them with seat of honor.
Right. Kilo Adonai mitzukei eretz v'yashet rem tibel.
The pillars of the earth, we have that before, for the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he set the world upon them.
Reglei hasidav yishmor.
He guards the steps of the ones of his faithful,
Ushaim b'choshech yitamu.
and the wicked perish in darkness.
Kilo b'koach yigbarish.
For men do not prevail by power.
Adonai yihatu meribav.
Lord's foes shall be shattered.
Alav b'shaim yereim.
He thunders the heavens from above.
Adonai yadin afse aretz.
The Lord judges to the ends of the earth.
V'yiten ozem al kol v'yarim kerem mishicho. So those words are all the bulk of what we, a large percent, if not almost all of it, is talking about a reversal of fortunes, right? What looks like one way today, you turn around and you see that while it's happening, you think this is going to be the reality, but then you look and you see there's that the situation changes. We had, because of October 7th, I can't help to say it, of course, that on October 7th, it looked like, existential crisis, and now you see that there's a reversal. Forget about if you want to say that a guy says that's because we have a greater army and God didn't do it. Whatever. I'm just saying, you experience this reversal of fortunes when. How do you experience it? You experience it.
First, you have to have the bed going on in order to
You
have.
have to have the bed. You call it the bed.
No, the bed is there in order to have a reversal. To be good, you have to experience the bed.
No, but that's because you cause it.
So, of course, we have to experience it in order.
Right.
Good.
Without experiencing it.
So these statements that are being made in 75, the very next Mizmor is going to become critical to understanding how God acts. And of course, that's going to take you back to to chapter 34 of Shemot, when Moshe is getting the second Luchot, and Hashem, and you have the Elahum Hanun, Semen, and then he makes the Berit. And he tells him, I want to know your ways, for the Anina, so on and so forth. And Hashem answers him, you can't see me and live.
Right.
You could only see Ahorai, you can only see my back,
That's right.
which means retrospectively. You could only see me when you look back in time. You can't understand my actions while they're happening. And of course, we talked about this a lot of times, about Eliyahu, who is looking for the quick, exactly, he, although Eliyahu, remember, tells God, I'm the only guy left.
Yeah.
They've murdered every single one of the people in the religious establishment. I'm the only guy,
He says it.
and I'm by myself. And the people are fading away, and what should I do? That's when he tells God he made the
The fire.
and God says, well, I don't work that way. Even though, in other words, Eliyahu had good reason to do what he did.
It was under very difficult circumstances.
Unbelievably bad circumstances. And if you would have been there, I think if we would have had a meeting with Eliyahu,
We're just gonna
and-
try it.
we would have said, try it. And God steps into the picture. We got to lose. God says, it's not gonna work. And it didn't work. That's why he goes to Horev. And that's why he's done for. He's finished. In other words, he did what he thought was going to be beneficial, but
He is given the instruction on how to really go about it.
Yeah, he says, go speak to this one guy.
you mean later,
So here's how we're gonna do it.
right? This is how you do it. Yeah,
These two
right.
Not the fire end.
Not this is how
No,
it's done.
Go get another guy, change the leadership,
Get
and the whole-
get a student. He tells him
Yeah.
go
keep continuity,
keep
change the thing in the,
Yeah, that's right.
it's all, there's a plan.
Right.
He's just,
But how long
I
does the
doesn't like-
plan take?
Doesn't say.
Wait, past sure, my friend.
yeah,
No, even
Wait, past sure, my
he says get Elisha as your
which means that you're gonna
You're-
need the next guy in order to
right,
make this.
and then Elisha is going to be somebody who does one of the things that God says gets done. Elisha sends the next generation, the Na'ar, the next generation below him. So it's not Eliyahu's generation. It's not Elisha's generation. It's the next generation, right? Who goes in and tells Yoram that he's going to be the king, right?
Moshe accepts it. He says, this generation, out.
I'm out.
And who's out with it? You.
Yeah,
Me, whatever, right.
yeah,
Moshe.
yeah.
He doesn't, he goes out with that generation.
Tries not to accept it, though.
I understand, but the bottom line is,
No,
That's
he
the
says,
fact.
no, he
That's the
doesn't,
reality.
he says, put somebody in this place. Put somebody there, but he didn't say, they
He
don't.
prays to God to get this, to be able to go in.
Yeah, but he
Well,
said,
last minute, he's still on the 40th day, he's still saying.
how about Yoshua? He doesn't see the whole land conquered. The end of the scene, he goes like this. There's how many? 7 tribes still out there, and he's
Yeah.
like, "You guys didn't do what you're supposed to do. Get to work."
Right.
Okay, so you had the military leader, didn't see the end. Moshe, you have all the classic people.
Correct.
Yosef, the last words are,
Yosef is with his great grandson child on his knee,
right, right.
showing you that who is that? That's going to be the child that's coming back with Moshe. He's the 4th generation.
and of course, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is all future. They
Oh.
never see it. Abraham's whole ta'ana is, how do I know this is really gonna make it to
Right.
fruition?
And that's the Berith Ben Abetarim, and that's the going. You just now made full cycle.
Right.
And the Berith Ben Abetarim, the
Generation, right.
the 3 animals,
Yes.
which means
Daughter of
it's
Yeshua.
the daughter of Yeshua.
Right.
It's going to be a cycle, and the 4th generation will be the one
Right.
where it eases, which gives you about 70, 75 years. The Yirmiyah says 70 years in his prophecy, but over that whenever you see that number, 70 is the symbolic number, but of course, when you're talking the 4th generation, you're talking about you have greats, Solely? No, you have your
Children.
daughter, your oldest daughter,
70, I could be a great.
right? Your oldest daughter is
Grandchild is 18.
18,
Right, so.
Right, so that's-
6, 7 years from now. I could be
right,
great.
right, which is
So-
about when it hits, when you'll be 70.
Certainly.
Yeah, right. What hit with me 30 years ago? How old is Lenore? Lenore is a year and a half younger than Rachel. Rachel was born in 88. She was
Wow.
born in 90. So 90 is 35 years ago. I'm 79.
Wow.
How, so,
45.
Well, you call us, that's
I
why.
was, right, right. So, I became a great grandfather, yeah, because we have pictures with Lenore and then her baby with my grandmother, with my mother-in-law, right? The
Yeah,
5
yeah.
generations, a long time ago already, right, with grandma. But in any event, the 4th generation, the great grandchild, the great grandchild, which is how Bereshit closes, with the great grandchild on his knee.
Yeah.
In other words, he mipi olalim v'yonakim, right? From the mouths of the sucklings. The sucklings are, as a rule, that's how you'll refer to the great grandchild, the babies. I'm sure they could get older but you think of them that way. They're the little babies when you're at that age.
Cycling to this 4th generation, so Abraham, they then go down to the next generation, and then Moshe doesn't make it either, even though he's the 4th generation, he's gotta recycle it again.
Yeah, but
There's
remember,
forward movement through
So
every
it's movement.
single-
He got- he got them out. It's not true. He got them out.
Let's make it.
Huh?
Let's make it.
Let's,
There's no end.
There's no end.
right.
No end.
Right,
It's
that's the
it's a
point.
cycle,
It's a cycle, just keep
We
going.
make it to one stage, then there's
right,
billion more stages to get through. To
right.
be wherever we need to be.
Well, that's also in this last months, this whole season we've talked. Morris, how long is when did this process start? How long? Say a number.
14 million years ago.
14 billion years ago, right? So for how much of those 14 billion years was the process till, how long did it take of those 14 billion for man to get on the scene?
Uh,
13.8.
yeah.
13 point something
Yes.
billion years went by, right? So it's a lot of cycles, a lot of cycles went on. And then that ended up with, in the last, how long for human beings been around?
Few 100,000.
That's all. It's not few, it's not in the millions.
I don't think so. No.
Isn't it the oldest?
No, it's the end of all.
What?
Fossils they
How
have
many million?
No. Of men?
of
Humans?
No, but that's the Neanderthal and
of-
Magnum man, but that's.
right,
Yeah.
We have a lot of people
I have
online. Any of you
3.7
people online know when human
million?
beings came onto the
We're gonna have
planet?
to look it up.
Yeah, I don't know. So in any event, it's been a long process. This has been a bit of a review of certain elements that we focused on over the last 6 months.
These are 200 to 300,000.
Yeah.
Oh, 200,000 to 300,000 years. That's man has been on the scenes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nothing.
And
And-
civilized man is, I don't know, 10,000.
Yeah.
You know,
You mean when they started having cities and,
humans 1.5 million years ago, they found in Israel.
right,
And
So-
vertebrate.
right,
Talk about,
well, yeah, it depends what you're calling,
right.
yeah.
So in any event, wait, let's get back on the point. The process is moving forward exponentially. That's another thing we said in this whole winter, right? It's getting faster and faster and faster because where it went from year one, let's say of the three, let's say 300,000 years. For 100,000 years, how fast was the pace? It was minimal.
Yeah.
And then for the next 100,000, it was 10 times more. And in the last
Hundreds.
100 years,
Yeah.
you've moved forward at a pace that's hard to comprehend. Last couple of 100 years, the pace has been,
The early 1900s, if you lived to 60, 70, it was okay. Now it's 90 to 100.
that's correct.
Back.
That's correct. That's correct. The lifespan. He's still on the subway, by the way. I'm looking at him over there. He's, yeah. So look, this cycle and that's being referenced, that you can only see me looking back in time. God is saying you can see me if you look back in time. That being said, let us turn now and remember. On the symbolism. Remember that 75 is filled with symbolism.
Yes.
Filled, but 80 words, and 76 is as you will see, what's there, but it's also an 80 words. Both have two 80 word structures right at the center of Tehillim, meaning the covenant is in effect. Of course, this is all review. Why does it that there's an 80 word structure and an 80 word structure in 75 and 76? Because 8 represents, like in the Berit Mina B'Terim, it represents the covenant in effect, and God is involved with the forward movement, is driving that forward movement, and is living up to his guarantees, right? That you see. That being the case, one aspect of it is Ani Hashem and everything we just now spoke about, and reversal of fortunes and process. And the next one is that if you want to see me, you can't see me, but you can see me retrospect, in retrospect, looking back in time. That said, the first thing we're gonna have to do is read 76 and translate. And Lee, you want to do the
Yeah.
English part?
Okay.
Yeah, so Lamnaseach Benginot Mizmor Asaf Shir. We'll skip the superscription for today, and we'll start. Noda Behuda Elohim
God has made himself known in Judah.
BeYisrael Gadol Shemor.
His name is great in Israel.
So two things. It's referring now immediately in the opening of Mizmor 76. It's referring to the north and the south. Yehuda it says God is Noda in Yehuda. He's known in Yehuda, right?
He's just known in the next.
And he's called Elohim. Noda Behuda Elohim. And BeYisrael in Israel Gadol Shemor. His name is great. So AB is asking, he's Noda in one. Why does it say he's Noda in one and his name is great in Israel in the north? Is that implying something about negatively about Yehuda? Because he's known, but over there his name is great. It's a good question, and we'll come back to it. And you're going to find out that no, it is not a negative connotation, but you'll find out why. We'll leave it for now. Vahi b'shalem Sukkot, and his
Salem became his abode.
Salem. You like that word, Salem?
It's a place.
You know Salem, Oregon, guys. You know Salem, Massachusetts.
Trials, yeah.
Right, the Salem witch trials. Right. Svahi b'Shalem. Of course, Shalem is the place that you see. The other time that you see in Tanakh that Jerusalem is referred to is Shalem. How do we know it's Jerusalem? Because the next words, this is a bicolon. Vahi b'Shalem Sukkot, and his sukkah. It's called a sukkah. Sukkah is probably say abode over there or something like that. His abode was in Shalem, Jerusalem, Onator, and his again, not an abode, but they probably use a den. They don't know what to call it. B'Sion was in Sion. So over there you see Sion, of course, means Jerusalem, right? So Shalem and Sion are being paralleled, and Sukkah and Maon are being paralleled, right? That's how this is the parallelism works. So it's very easy, right? Over here is A, B, B, A, right? Is one of your typical poetic forms that you find in Tehillim. So does anybody remember, including all the people online, there are a lot of people online, does anybody remember the other place where Jerusalem is called Shalem? Where? In Bereshit, in the very beginning of the Torah. Take a look at just to remind yourself, go to chapter 14 of Bereshit, which is immediately before the Berit B'Terim, and is linked textually, woven fabric links between 14 and 15, and then it's you have in 14, right? You have like this in verse
18.
18. Umelchizedek melech shalem hotzi lechem v'yayin v'hu kohen le'el elyon. So I always remind you guys that Melchizedek The name of the king is
God.
my king,
King.
and righteous king, right? Melech Shalem, he's the king of Shalem, Jerusalem,
Mhm.
right? Hotzi lechem v'yain, he took out bread and wine. And who is he? He's Kohen La'el Elyon. So you find yourself in Jerusalem. You find yourself in Jerusalem with a priest king who is a very, very, very good guy
Yep.
who makes blessings. He makes brachas. He made by Berachel Baruch Abraham Le'el Elyon Koneh Shamayim Haaretz. Baruch is Abraham Te'el Elyon who owns the world.
Mhm.
Ubaruch El Elyon and blesses El Elyon Asher Migan Sarecha Biadecha that he right Migan is like a Magan, a shield of your enemies in your hands. V'yitem lo Maaseh Makol and he gives Maaseh. So you have a priest who gives Maaseh. You have a Kohen giving Maaseh, making berachot in Jerusalem, right? And then you're going to have the Berit bin Abiatarim. I always say that anybody who's a very, very sharp observer, of course, the hints are not, when you look at it that way, they're not just hints, they're overwhelming, right? That what the heck are you doing finding yourself with a king, priest in Jerusalem, who makes berachot and who treats Abraham in the most perfect way. Abraham accepts, and but of course the king of Sodom, he tells him, take a walk. I wouldn't take a shoelace from you.
Out of the picture, the story flows without him in there. Sodom, they go to war, Sodom comes back, he says, give me all my thing, like, you don't need the Melchizedek part. The
Right,
story to flow. So
right, but of course they're
it's
being,
inserted for a purpose.
it's the contrast between the low life and what a person should really be, and so on and so forth. But the fact that you should never forget that the fact that you're in Jerusalem at the beginning of the Torah, at the very, very, for all intents and purposes, it's the very beginning. And now we find ourselves once again with that word shalem being used in the 76th Mizmor, and it's by no accident,
Of course.
right? Why not say Vehi Birushalayim Sukkot Onato B'Sion? He writes Sion, right? Why do you have to use the word Shalem? The word Shalem is being used with a purposefully with an objective. Shema Shibar Rishve Kashet
There he broke the fiery arrows of the bow,
Magen V'Cherev U'Milchama.
the shield, and the sword of war, Selah.
Naorata.
You were resplendent.
Now that word naor, it reminds you of or,
Yeah.
light. So resplendent, right? You shine, in other words. Resplendent is the word they're using for it. Naorata, adir miharire taref.
Glorious on the mountains of prey.
Right. Now, anybody who reads this Mizmor doesn't have the foggiest idea what we're talking about. They go, oh, they fall back on poetry, right? There he broke the bow, right? The shafts, right? The arrows, in other words. And then when it says, it refers to what? It goes shield, sword, and war, right? And then you're resplendent, Adir, and you're more glorious, right? Did they say glorious? Or did they say
Glorious.
yeah, more
This is
glorious than the
mightier.
mountains
This is-
of prey.
This is mightier, which makes.
Mightier,
sense.
okay,
That's
it's
better.
okay.
That's better.
Esh tolelu abirei leb,
The stout-hearted were despoiled.
right? From the word shalal, they're doing that word from despoiled, like when you take the spoiled, right? Right? Abirei leb, namu shenatam. That word you should all know, namu. Right, I'm going to Nam. A lot of you guys know that Arabic word, Namu. In Hebrew, in Hebrew, it's Namu. They slept shenatam, their sleep. They slept their sleep. V'lo matzu kol anshe hayli him, and all the men of valor couldn't find their hands.
Lift their hands.
No, that's not what it says.
Could not lift their hands.
I know that's not a good translation. The word is the law matzu kol anshe haylim. They couldn't find their hands. Is the little trans in law matzu they didn't find
Right.
right? Yedehim, the hands. Miga'aratcha, from your blast, Elohe Yaakov, from your blast. What blast? We don't know what it's talking. Nirdam, they were in a stupor,
Same word.
Verechev, and
Horse and chariot lay stunned.
chariot, vasus, and horse. Ata nora ata.
Hmm.
You are, remember before we said naorata in verse 5. Now we say ata nora ata. You are nora. How do they translate it?
Awesome.
They say awesome. But of course, you can't help but know that the word naor and nora, right? Nun aleph vav resh, nun vav resh aleph, right? Is taking the letters of naor and it's flipping them, correct?
Yes.
It's sticking with the nun, but it's taking the word or, right, and turning it to a vav resh aleph as opposed to the way it was. So it's saying you're awesome, but it's using the word for nora. You're awesome, you're feared, you're beyond comprehension, and so on and so forth. And it's making a play from the word that comes from light, right? Remember before it called it resplendently,
Yeah.
right?
Word.
Naorata, umi amod lefanecha, and who can stand before you me'az apecha, from your,
When you are enraged.
right? Me'az apecha. Mishamayim hishmat adin,
In heaven, you pronounce sentence.
eretz yare'ah,
The earth was numb with fright.
the land was yare'ah, was in fear, right? Right? Vishakata,
Yeah, like numb, quiet.
right? Quiet was quiet, shaket, right?
Okay.
Nobody knows what this is talking about. Bikum lemishpat Elohim,
Yeah.
when God rises
To execute
to
judgment.
execute judgment, Loshia kol anvei eretz, to save all the humble of the earth. Selah, okay,
Man.
that's of course the Mizmor is telling you break. Ki hamat adam todeka, because the fury of man will give thanks to you, or gives, what did
They say the fiercest of men shall acknowledge you.
Right. Hamat Adam, even though Hamat Adam doesn't say the fiercest of men, it says Hamat Adam, the Hama of a person, of a man.
Human fury.
Todeka
Fury.
will, what did they, you say, what did they use?
The fiercest of men shall acknowledge you.
Acknowledge, Todeka, from the word, it's a good word, right? Will show you, will, really the word could be like thanks, right? Will show you,
Crazy.
right? She'erit Hemot, the remnant of anger, tahgor, you will gird. God will gird himself in the remnant of anger. Isn't that what it says?
When you gird on the last bit of fury.
This is
But meaning of Hebrew uncertain.
Ah, over there, they finally say we have absolutely no idea what we're talking about. You know, of course, they're making a big deal out of this because in volume 2, I translate that. By the way, I closed volume 2 on this, on 76. Yeah. I translate every single word and show you how everything is all clear as a bell, word for word, which we're going to do. We won't finish it tonight. We'll get started. These strange words, Shereit Hamot Tagor, Nedru Shalmu, Shalmu, right? Shalmu Ladonai Elohim. Make vows.
And pay them to the Lord your God.
Paul Sirivav Yobilu Shaila Murah.
All those around him shall bring tribute to the awesome one.
In other words, to God, Murah,
Mhm.
right? Of course, you see the play on that word Naor and right, and now it's Morah, right? Again, a play. Yipsor Ruach Negidim. He curbs.
Princes.
And Norah, there's the word Norah, right?
Inspires awe in the kings of the earth.
And the kings of the earth. Now, by the way, of course, the closing words, Norah lemelche eretz, remember that the center of this mizmor, the 3 center, Ata, Norah, Ata. Those are the 3 center words, right? So the Ata, Norah, Ata, in other words, you say Ata, Norah forwards, Ata, Norah backwards. It's with Norah, the word Norah is in the middle. And you close with Norah lemelche eretz. You are, they translate awesome again.
Yes.
yeah, to the kings of the earth.
So here the
Now-
translation, no idea what we're talking about.
Right, exactly. We read the translation, we took the time, we had to take the time because if we didn't, you don't know what, you wouldn't be able to, this class would not have any meaning to you at all. And if you have a chance, of course, this week, and you can look at this Mizmor on your own, it's good. If you get familiar with it, it's good. And when you do get familiar, you'll come up with absolutely not knowing what's going on. But of course, the question becomes, what is this is more doing? We explained what 75 is doing in the middle of Tehillim as what we're going to call, for argument's sake, the most important thing that has to be said in the book, the focal point of all of the book. So to say Ani Hashem, you understood it. And that it's set on an atomic level. Remember, on an atomic level, and it's dealing with the answer to the reason to the request for relief from the Holocaust that that it comes about as a result of the nation's sins. So now I want to, instead of translating every single word, what I'd like to do is for all of us to turn to Melachim. And I want to turn in Melachim to Melachim Aleph. And I want to just start, and then we'll I'm only going to read this part of Melachim, chapter 19. I want to, or 18, wherever it is. I want to read to you the exchange that takes place between Eliyahu and Elisha at the crossroads in Eliyahu Hanavi's life. That's chapter Melachim Aleph, chapter 20, verse I hit the wrong, I'm sorry. Chapter 19, verse 15. Chapter 19, verse 15 is what God tells. We referred to it tonight, but I just want to read the sentences so to actually read it inside and see how that process took place. Vayomer Adonai elav lech shuv ledarkecha. After he stayed around 2 times, Eliyahu, and he comes up with the same answer. No, you're not gonna have it. It's not going to be that way, and this is the way it's going to be, and so on and so forth. He says, God tells him, lech shuv ledarkecha, return to your way. Midbara Damasek. Go ahead, Lee.
Go back by the way you came and on to the wilderness of Damascus.
Ubata, and you will come, umashahta, and you will anoint Hazael Melech Aram, Hazael to be king of Aram. What is that the equivalent to in today's time saying? Go anoint to be the king of Syria, right? Some lowlife.
And what's your jurisdiction there?
Right.
Why is it not being Israel doing that?
Huh?
Yeah.
Go anoint him. In other words, that is going to be one of the things that is going to happen. That guy is going to become the king of Aram. Aram is a place that's going to cause untold suffering to Israel. Ve'et Yehu ben Nimshi, and Yehu, the son of Nimshi, Timshach lemelech al Yisrael. That's the one I told you about, that he didn't do it, nor did Elisha do it, but Elisha sends a young guy to do it, right? And you should, I want you're in charge of getting him anointed king of Israel. Ve'et Elisha ben Shaphat, and Elisha, the son of Shaphat, me'Abel Meholah, who comes from Abel Meholah. Now, when you read the words Abel Meholah,
Morning and sickness.
morning, you can't help but
Yeah, it
know,
does.
where does he come from? He comes from Abel, which means to mourn for the dead, and Meholah, for mourning and sickness.
Ben Shaphat, Ben Shofeto, he's son of a righteous person.
Ben Shaphat, his father is right,
Yeah, yeah.
is a judge, right? Right, the son of judge. Timshach l'nabi tahtecha, you anoint him as prophet in place of you.
Right.
In other words, you're now not only you going to set in motion the king of Aram, and you're going to set in motion the king of Israel. You're going to also set up the next religious leader who is going to replace you in the future.
Mhm,
Meaning you're going to be his mentor,
mhm.
right? You're not going to just walk up to him and go to him and tell him, "Okay, you're running the show," and walk away. What does it mean when you say you anoint him? Is it just take some oil and pour it on Elisha's head and tell him you're the next religious leader and walk away?
No.
That's like
What do you? I'm asking the room. I'm asking the room.
Yehoshua.
Huh?
Like Moshe did with Yehoshua. He appointed him, but he also.
Well, he was his assistant for all of his life. Right after he's right, so he says, but he tells him go
find this guy.
this guy, yeah, he is the next leader of Israel, right? The next, right? You make him Navi in your place. Of course, Navi meaning the spiritual leader of the nation, correct?
Yeah.
So, of course, you should all note that, of course, there's a blatant omission of a priestly element in here. There's no word of Kohen, there's no make him, there's the Navi. There's the Navi, you make him the Navi in your place.
After Eli, the Kohen disappears from the scene completely.
Okay, I'm just saying, it's clear that you don't see anything here now. It's not being brought up, right? V'haya, and it shall be, Hanimlat Mehiriv Hazael, whoever escapes the sword of Hazael. Remember, Hazael is the king of Aram.
Mhm.
That's like saying the guy who's going to lead the Hamas. You understand? Aram, like you said, Syria, Soli, right? Whoever Yamit Yehu, you know who's going to kill whoever escapes his sword? The king of Israel, right? Yehu, who will be the king of Israel, he'll kill them, right? And whoever Yehu escapes Yehu's sword, Yamit Elisha,
Prophet.
the prophet. Elisha will eliminate. V'hisharti b'Yisrael, and I'm going to leave, remaining in Israel, Shabbat Alafim, 7,000 people. Of course, you know that this number represents the old order and the ones who are worthy, right? Shabbat Alafim, Kol habirkaim asher lo kareu leBaal, all the knees that did not bow down to Baal, v'chol hapeh, and all the mouths asher lo nashak, every mouth that did not kiss him. And that, well, by the way, of course, kiss means show fealty to. You show fealty to. That's like when you go like that, you bend the knee, or you kiss the hand, or you etc. Right? Vayelech misham. It's worth finishing this piece off. Vayelech misham. So he leaves this place. Remember that he ended up there because he had it, and remember that Hashem told him, this is not the way it works. And it works, I work with, remember, Kol Adaka. And Kol Adaka means, what is Kol Adaka? My moves are imperceptible. So these are the moves. Now, these moves are the moves of putting Hazael as king of Aram, Yehu, king of Israel, Elisha, Navi of Israel, right? And whoever is saved will, the next one will get, and the next one will get. These are all stages that take how long?
This doesn't take long.
Years they did.
Well,
No, this-
beyond Elisha,
Right.
beyond Eliyahu's life, right? Which should remind you of Moshe, who was told, you're not getting in, you're not going to see it because the process will go. Of course, he's being told he can't, it's not going to happen in your lifetime. It's just,
Moshe was told he couldn't go in because of he did something.
yeah, well, we have to talk
So
about that.
Now the same thing because he sort of got.
We have to talk about that. We have to talk about what that means exactly, right? it's 20 feet getting in. Crossing the Jordan is going from
Yeah.
across Ocean Parkway at certain place, you know. Like, just let me go. Why? So go across Ocean Parkway, get to the other side. You were there. It's much more than that, right? So he goes in, he finds. So the first thing he does is not the Hazael, king of Aram. Aram. He goes directly to the third one.
Mhm.
Elisha ben Shaphat, Vihu Horesh, and he is plowing Shneim Asar Semadim Lefanav.
12 yoke of oxen ahead of him.
Right. So you think of him when you do the
If you think it's
the
talking about
plowing, there's
oxen,
you
you don't know what's going on here.
there's an ox in front of you, and you're the one in back of it,
Yeah.
in front of him. So you're thinking of 12, sort of like there's 6 oxen on this side and 6 oxen on that, and they're all, right? Something like that. Can you read the English again, just see if you?
There were 12 yoke of oxen ahead of him, and he was with the 12.
Right, and Vehu b'Shem ha'asad, and he's with the 12. Now that statement, he's with the 12, is a little strange. He's with the 12. Well, they're ahead of him. The implication I said, but with that was that he's doing,
Yeah.
there's 12. They're in front of him. They're doing their thing,
He's
and
the driver.
back, and they're ahead of him.
That could be.
But then he says, "Hu b'Shem asad." He's in the 12.
That makes sense.
What do you mean he's in the 12, right? Vayabod Eliyahu, Elav, and Eliyahu, there's that word Vayabod.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I knew Mars was going to catch that. Vayabod, right? Vayabod Eliyahu, Elav, and Eliyahu passes over to him. How do they probably don't know what to
Reached over to him.
Reached them.
came over.
Yeah.
That's not what Vayabod means.
Yeah, boy.
Or you can say Vayigash as the.
Right.
What do you mean
The
Vayab?
word Vayabod is a little strange. Elav, Vayashlich Ederto Elav. And he takes his mantle and throws it at him. So the imagery in this scene is great.
Yeah.
Eliyahu is Eliyahu is the Navi in Israel. He is known in Israel. Let's understand, he's very super duper, right?
Like,
Right? Beyond. And you can be sure
He's in every verse.
that this person, Elisha, the prophet, the future prophet, knows exactly who he is, and you get this feeling that he goes like this, and then you think of it go,
it
it's
looks more like that.
he goes whoop. Oh, you think of it this way.
Yeah.
He throws it at him.
Yeah, because
Like-
look at the next words.
It-
Ya'azov et habakar vayaretz acharei Eliyahu.
Vayarots, Vayarots, yeah.
Sorry. He
Yeah.
takes it, he throws it at him, and he sloughs. He has to run back after him like 1 second.
He leaves the oxen,
Yeah.
right? That he's in the middle of, right? The last word in the middle. Vayarot Ahare Eliyahu, and he runs after him. That means the imagery that you have right now is this.
Yeah.
Eliyahu goes like this.
I'm out of here.
No, and he just no. No. He doesn't even say that.
No,
He doesn't say anything. He throws it at him. He goes, Elisha,
Yeah.
and he walks away.
He's upset.
And I want to be a little dramatic and comical. And here's you see Elisha, he's taking the thing off of him, and he sees a guy, and he's, he already,
Yo, wait up.
till he got it off his face.
But he knew what it meant.
Yeah,
No, obviously.
clearly,
Yeah.
he's handing over the mantle of leadership.
Was that a frustration? Because
Well, wait, don't ask that question. Of course, that's the question. Of course, what's going on over here? Ve'azor tabakar, and he leaves the cattle. Ve'yarot sahar Eliyahu, he runs after Ve'yomer, and he says, Ishakana la'abi u'limi
Let me go kiss my
ve'elka harecha. I'll
Give me a
kiss
second.
my mother and father,
I'll say goodbye.
and I'll go after you.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Right? But my father and mother. When a person says, I'll kiss my mother and father, you know what that means? Like this. I just want to say goodbye to my parents.
Yeah.
Let me.
I'm in.
I'm not even questioning whether I'm in. Let me go kiss my mother and father. a little hug, a little goodbye, a little let my mother make me some ades or something and say, Rochi, you leaving? Where you going? I don't know. I have to go with something. So right now the next words are amazing. Vayomid lo lech shub.
That's Eliyahu.
Yeah, go back. Ki mi asiti lach. What did I do to you? Let's get this scene. It's an amazing scene. Throws the thing, walks away. He sees it. He's already 50 feet away. What the heck? He runs after him. He says, he knows that he's got thrown the mantle down. He's telling, okay, you TO, right? And he goes, 1 second, I'll just say it. He goes, what do I ever say to you? It's such a weird.
I didn't tell you to come with me.
What did I ever say to you?
No,
What I would
Now,
do-
those words lech shub are very important.
Right.
I want you to go back to this chapter to verse 15 where the story started, and Sammy, read Sammy the Hebrew words of the opening of this story. Go lech shuv. Go. Now the English translation of lech shuv.
They say
Go
go back.
Go
Go
return.
back, go return, right,
Go return back to what you do. Right.
right.
So, of course, the words lech shuv are being used on purpose. That's Yomad law. It's the same. The Yomad Hashem Elav lech shuv that God tells him lech shuv. Go back. What is that kecha means? Midbara demesek. Go back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Is he right?
when he tells him lech shuv, what is he telling him? Go back. Go back and what? Go back and do whatever you always do. Like lech shuv. Go back and.
God tells
When
me.
God said it to Eliyahu, how did he mean it?
Yes.
When
Get
God,
get off the mountain and go back to work.
get back to
He
work.
was on the mountain.
So he says, let me go say goodbye to my parents. Says, go back what? But it's the words go back over here,
Yeah.
over there meant go back to work. So he's going, go back, do whatever you continue doing. What? And don't even follow me, Yani.
Yeah. Who is you?
Lech shub, right? Because what do I ever do to you?
Hmm.
Now, what do you mean what I ever do to you?
It's weird, the words.
What do you mean what I ever do to
You
you?
make me the Navi.
What do I ever do to you? Go back. But wait a minute. You threw your mantle at me.
I didn't tell you to come with me.
You threw it at me. He didn't give it to him. He threw it at him.
Yeah.
So, in other words, listen, the first thing that should hit your mind, I think, should be like this. You threw me your mantle. It means you want me to TO. You want me to
Be the Navi.
want me to whatever.
Right, okay.
So he's telling him, I want to say goodbye to my parents. No, not I want to say goodbye. I want to kiss them. It's what do you say when you say I want to kiss my mother and father?
Oh, yeah.
I want to. No, it's
You're going forever.
yeah. I didn't say no. All I said was I want to kiss them. And my parents. Not. He didn't say his wife. He didn't say his sister or sibling. He said he's not married, but he didn't say. He just said I want to kiss my parents goodbye. It's such a normal, healthy, proper response. I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming. I just want to kiss them goodbye. Okay, go back. But the go back before meant
Yes.
to him,
Yes.
to Eliyahu, it meant,
Right.
okay, get back to work. So he says, go back. In other words, go back and don't come back.
Don't come to me.
Lech shub,
Right.
go back. What did I do to you? What did I do to you? Meaning, I don't care what you do. Don't follow me. Go back. But it's such an overreaction to the statement of all I want to do is say goodbye, because the words are implying like this: go back, stay home, go back, stay home,
Like who needs,
continue, go back into the cattle and go doing what you always do. Because what I ever do to you? He's like a little angry,
Very angry.
right? He's coming off very gruff and a little angry.
he's upset. I mean, he lost the job basically. Where he was at a level with God.
He didn't lose his job.
He was at a level
Eliyahu.
that now Hashem, Eliyahu's.
You point to him the Navi.
No,
He's the Navi now.
No, he says he's got it. No, He's got to mentor him.
No,
That's
I'm
what he
talking
said.
to be your guy instead of you. Eliyahu's now.
He's the future. What do you want to do?
Because in the previous story, when Eliyahu wants to see the ways of God and stuff like that, he thought he's gonna be the guy to see the future, see everything like that. Now he's being told, no, you're not gonna be the guy.
That's correct.
That's a very demoralizing thing.
Okay, but he's not telling him you can't work anymore. All he's telling him is, one second. He's telling him he's the guy who's TOing.
You're not gonna be the guy in the future.
Well, that's
That's wipe you out.
but wait, he tells them things that have to be done that take time.
And he hasn't done any of them.
He can't do them probably. Who says he
Because
can't?
he's already lost his effectiveness.
So did he lose his effective? Listen, they're all good statements. Did he lose his effectiveness? Is part of the listen. Did Moshe? What does he say to Moshe? You can't go in. You know what he tells him?
No, you gotta do it.
Let's take a break from this conversation for a minute. Look at that sort of scene, right?
Yeah.
You didn't sanctify me, right?
Like the shame.
Well, you hit the rock, right?
Okay.
Okay, so you can't go in. Now, is the reason he can't go in, listen carefully, put that aside. If you would put that aside, can he go in and lead the
No.
people anymore?
It's done. It's over.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's old. He can't do it anymore. If that story didn't happen with the rock,
It's just.
could he lead the people?
No.
No, it's, you see all the signs
It's
already.
indicative.
He's older.
Story, hitting the rock was the outgrowth of its condition, not just.
So they're intrinsically connected. It's true he's older, and it's true.
He becomes
Immobile.
Yeah, right. When they come back, he tells them, "Did you kill them all?" And they will look at each other. So
and Korach and the whole
one second. What we do?
Is,
No, Korah was fabulous, but with the army when they come back, he goes, "They just Midian with the Mohammed Midian."
But also,
Did you wipe them all out? And what do you mean? Did you wipe them all out? We're not supposed to. We did what we're supposed to do. Nobody died. Perfect war. Well, what are you angry about? So
But
you
the
see
Bible order
the beginning of him being bothered,
when he
and then when he hits the rock, impatient. But even if you didn't have those, you were about to say, I'm sorry.
Baal Peor, he's crying with the guy.
He's immobile.
right, yeah.
He's immobile. It's
It's-
Pinhas who has to take over now. He can't.
But even the fact that the Korach happened, the event happened,
No, there's always.
shows that already there's already a little bit of lack of confidence.
No, Korah just wants to kill him.
No, but the fact that the people stood up against them and you killed our man, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I don't think that. No. I think Korah was that everything was going fine. Korah is the low life over there. Period.
But
Not because he's doing anything wrong.
no, it just reveals that Moshe's
No, 'cause God says-
He's not
No,
slipping. No.
God says he's the most.
Korah is a low life and wants to kill him. No,
Yeah.
he did. It's not. No. He's the victim.
Yes.
Don't turn him. He's the victim. He's not the victim because he has problems. He's the victim because the other guy's an animal.
I think that Baal Peor and the hitting of the rock are critical because you go back to Moshe's beginning and the two signs he's given, which we've gone over, are one is inaction and one is
Yes.
misusing the staff.
Right.
You're gonna have Baal Peor where he becomes inactive, and the other is gonna be the hitting of the stick. And you see that those are the two sides of him losing
I think-
his.
I think it's very good because he overuses his prophetic
Right.
powers.
And
And the
call
thing
it a
was-
misuse or an overuse.
Right.
Right.
But they're the two, those are the two, haven't we gone through the prior?
Of course. So now, with this state of affairs, what you said before, Lee, was very on. Which came first? You get older. Well, you got to move on when you get older because you can't lead simply because of the realities of a human being that you can only run the show for so long. After that, you've got to move on. We're having conversations these days in the meetings. Not all of the people in this room come to those, and all the people are listening. But in Sephardic, we're making a lot of changes. Look, the Hakam is there's a problem over there with the Hakam, but which is something that I can never cope with. Right? I can't even cope with. I went to visit him this week. And Miriam was talking the whole time. She was we were there for a few hours, Linda and I. I couldn't get a word edgewise in with the Rab because she was very excited. Miriam was going 100 miles an hour, sharp and everything, terrific. In any event, so I would say it like this. I'd never assume the Rab is, let's say, 86. So the Rab would turn around to you, Lee, in a conversation these days and say, it's time to get some other people who, because he's, let's say, he signs everything and he would tell you, am I right or not? You knowing the Rab.
Well,
He would-
did what he did.
He did.
He did.
Set up for the future.
Exactly.
Right? Because your energy levels are limited. Everything is limited. Your energy, even if you're sharp as a whip, even everything's perfect, there's only so much you can do at that stage. So simultaneously with that goes the other thing of, like you say, he lost it, right? He did something he shouldn't have done. So but when you say one, you're saying the other. And when you say the other, you're saying the one. They feed on each other a little bit. That being the case, Eliyahu is being told it's time to, there's a lot of things to be done, but the things that he has to do are things that are going to be beyond his time frame, not because of any other reason that you could only go so far with what you do.
You don't wanna say it's because of the way he dealt with the Baal, with the Baal, and the way fact that he went to the mountain, stuff like that, showed a little bit that he wasn't fully qualified to go forward?
I think
I'm not going to answer the question. I'll let Morris answer it.
I think what you see from that whole event and what we've gone through is that Eliyahu is the one that can't cope with what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. That's his actions over here that we're reading
Right.
are him not handling it.
Yes.
Right.
And
That you answered where I was going.
Okay.
It's very on. You know what he's doing?
Yeah.
If you remember,
he was
when
given three things. What does he go to three for? That's
Yeah,
his
yeah.
decisions that are being made.
Why did he jump to number
Yeah.
three?
but more than that, if you remember Eliyahu Eliyahu is there God tells him, so what are you doing here?
Mhm.
He told him that already,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know what Eliyahu answers him?
Uh,
Because God answered him already. What does he say? I don't like the answer. He doesn't say I don't like the answer. How does he say God, I don't like your answer?
there you go.
He doesn't say those words. What does he say? He repeats everything he said the first. What are you doing here? He's talking to God.
I mean,
So
that
he
was
just
weird.
he doesn't say I don't like your answer. He goes like this. The same exact claims that I had yesterday, I have today. And I'm holding firm in my position. And let's say I was brilliant. He knows exactly what God was saying. He don't like the answer. So God tells him, get going. He don't like that answer either. But he's a faithful servant.
Yeah, he's not upset that he's being told to get the next guy.
Yeah.
That's not what his issue is. The whole going up in the Sa'adah, what's really going on over there is talking about his inability to cope with the
God's
reality.
answer. He doesn't
That's the
like God's
reality. The
answer.
reality of what God tells him is this is the way things operate. This is the way I work with the whole situation and how it goes. He doesn't.
He does not accept it. He goes like this.
Cope with it or
Not
doesn't
because of
accept
his
it?
own, no, not because
He
of.
doesn't like it.
It's
But that's the third one.
He doesn't like it.
Is you can't cope, you can't accept it, or you don't like it?
He doesn't agree with it.
not. It's not any one.
You
Yeah.
can't cut that with a knife, what you just now said. I can't cope with this. I don't like this. I'm fed up with this.
And he says it.
I don't like it. And he says it explicitly. I don't want to do this. I'm not here. So when he does it, listen carefully now. Isn't he doing it and he's under duress? So Lee, you know when you have to do something under duress? I may be wrong about what I'm going to say now, but look, you have to give, Mara says, someone comes to me and says, the Rab comes to me and says, you have to give that to Lee. I don't want to give it to Lee. I don't want to give that to Lee. You have to, because Lee, you're making a joke now. He has to make up the papers, and you have to give it to him, and he has to make the let's call it what we were talking about with the rap, the contract for
Yeah.
for the new state of affairs. So when I come to you, I go, Lee, I gotta talk to you. I throw it at you. I take the sheets and I go like this. I put them on the table like this and I walk away. I don't want to do it. I don't hold of it, right? The rap told me to do it. So I'm gonna listen no matter what. But it's like taking it and throwing it at you. And then you come to me and say, Ronnie, I'm gonna do it. Give me a second. Do whatever the heck you want. What do you want from me?
Right.
Doesn't that show someone who's very bothered? If
Yeah.
I would talk to you like that,
Yeah.
what did I ever do to you? What are you asking me for time to, if you need time? And you say it in the nicest way, you need time. You need time for the most, yeah. And so that's someone who's totally not in line. And if I took the contract and I came to you and the rabbi asked me to do it and I threw it at Lee, right? On the table, when you're on the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
table in the lawyer's firm, you have the big, long, gigantic table and you go this, it slides all across the table and hits you, right? Because they actually threw it at him. And so I think that's what that means. He's working under duress. He doesn't like it. What do you want from me? What did I ever do to you? Just go ahead. So what does he do? Let's just read one more because it's very late now.
It's very significant that the first two words that comes out of his mouth in this story are the first two words
That God told him, for sure,
And
for
it's like
sure.
saying, go to hell. Like questioning it. Lech shuv is meaning
No,
his
there
response.
you go,
told me
get
left
back.
foot?
Right,
Told
exactly.
me
That's
Lech
it.
Shuv? He told me.
He told you Lech shuv. It's like talking to Lech shuv.
You told me?
He's expressing his anger at the
It's-
situation when he's talking.
When God told him Lech Shuv, he's,
Explain.
no, you're saying it right. God told him Lech Shuv. Me Lech Shuv?
Right.
Lech Shuv.
Exactly. What am I gonna do with you now?
I Lech Shuv,
What
you
am I
Lech
gonna do
Shuv.
with you?
I'll talk to him.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is like that.
Yes.
Lex Struve, I didn't do this to you. This
That's
is
it. Go-
still he's upset about the situation.
Yes,
God's
yes, yes, clear.
I
Go
think
talk
it's
to
very.
go talk to God about that.
Holding firm, right? Go back? Go back, you go back.
You would just, let me alone with this go back.
Lech Shuv. הנה עשיתי לך, וישוב מאחריו. And now Lee, I like, וישוב מאחריו,
He turned back from him.
ויקח את צמד הבקר,
He took the yoke of oxen
ויזבחהו,
and slaughtered them.
ובכלי הבקר בשלם.
He boiled their meat with the gear to the oxen.
Right? He's actually using the things that he uses for the oxen, right? Things that he uses to do, let's say, plowing, or he uses those things to boil them in, right? He doesn't say use the pot, he used the kli of the bakar, right? Veiten la'am,
And he gave it to the people,
vayochelu,
and they ate.
vayakom,
Then he arose
vayelech ahare Eliyahu,
and he followed Eliyahu,
vaysharetehu.
became his attendant.
Well, but-
And he came
but
and he
using-
served, and
but
he,
using the killing, he's saying, I don't need this anymore. I'm done with this job. I'm done.
that's for sure.
Yeah,
But what does he do with it? What was he doing before?
he was plowing the field.
What did the oxen represent in the prior story?
If there's 12,
Yeah, come on. He's already a spiritual leader.
he's already
He's in them.
He's not
He's-
leading them. He's in.
He's in the midst of it. He's working with
he's
them.
already
He's already working with them.
driving the situations in the back.
He's a major mover. When you v'hu b'toch Hashem, he's right in the middle of it.
Okay.
He's in the middle of it. He knows he's already sophisticated,
Yeah,
working.
comes and
He's
sees
been
him.
involved with people in the government. He's been involved with people in the religious, with priests. He's been involved with the people, their problems.
What does
Huh?
it mean? What is this?
Eliyahu comes to one of us, but what are you, me? What are you, great? Like, but he knew he's the
No,
person who
he
can take
knew.
over.
He understood it,
He got it.
and he's willing to do it. He's willing to do it. He's willing to
He's
do it.
doing it already.
Well, what is what
That's
he
the
does-
point.
Yes.
So what does he do with them? When you take now the oxen become the real oxen, right? Now you take them and you cook them. That means he takes everything in what he was doing. He serves the people. he feeds, who does he feed with it, right? B'chliah b'kar b'shem, v'yitin la'am.
I'm saying
He
that's
gives,
a metaphor.
yeah,
So as a
that he
metaphor,
takes
what is it?
everything and he gives it to the people. That's what, because that's what he was always doing. Everything was for the people.
And that's
He-
what he does all the time in the future.
That's correct.
Right.
Everything is for the
also a
people.
Contrast with Eliyahu, because
Yes.
before this, right?
Right.
He's not eating, and somebody has to come to him, and you're gonna get that same series of verbs that we spoke about.
You always see Eliyahu fighting.
Yeah, wait,
Right.
this
You don't see
series
Eliyahu helping people, you always see him
this
fighting.
series of verbs is Esau.
Exactly, the same series of verbs that
He
came
ate,
up with
he ran, he
Eliyahu
got
in
up
the
and he
beginning,
went. Yeah,
right?
Right.
He's the guy that needed to be fed and got going.
right.
He's the one but Elisha, you see it in reverse. He's the one that's giving it to the people.
Also
He's
because
feeding
of
the people.
Comparisons we made in prior classes between
Right.
Eliyahu and Esau.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So what happens?
As a-
He's ready. He takes on the mantle. He's willing to take on the mantle of leadership, but he's got to. You know what? For me personally, it doesn't mean it's true. You know, if you're in a position of leadership already significant, you don't just leave the people and walk away from them. You don't just get up. You set your house in order.
Set up before you
Yeah,
go to-
this is setting up his house in order. And you take everything that you have and you turn the whole structure into something that benefits the people.
Right.
That's what it means when you feed the people. The whole thing of everything he's doing up into, because now he's
Let
gonna
me
be
kiss them.
doing, now he's gotta do other things, right? He's gotta do other things because he's taking the mantle of leadership. So clearly you've been given the shift that's taking place between Eliyahu's form of leadership and so on and so forth, and Elisha. Now, understand something. We're about to end the class.
Eliyahu's not the leader.
Eliyahu, that's what I was going to tell you. Wrong. Eliyahu is a leader. Eliyahu is an amazing leader. Eliyahu did spectacular things for the nation. Eliyahu stood up to the evil. He was.
But that's not a
Ver-
leader, someone who takes the people with him and grows with them.
One second. I'm not. No. You don't know that. You don't know that he didn't do that. You don't know he was. We have stories with him where he saved a child. We know that he knew it. Eliyahu also. He learned it from Eliyahu. He saves the child. He does things. He's unbelievable. But what I will say is this: it's not at all saying anything negative about Eliyahu. It's saying that the type of leadership is now a new type of leadership. Eliyahu, the marker between the two of them, and this thing that you're reading is not that his leadership, I'm going to say it like this, it was spectacular. It was unbelievable. And it was great. Elisha is going to there's going to be a paradigm shift in leadership. Elisha is going to be the forefront of the paradigm shift. The leadership and how it functions and what it does is going to change in the hands of Elisha. It's like when you're going to look back in time, you go like this, oh, they stopped doing that. And once Elisha comes on X, they stop doing X. They stop doing Y. They stop doing Z. Not that he was a bad leader. No, they don't do that anymore. It's things are done differently with Eliyahu or with Elisha. Not that the other one was a bad one. Not that it was a negative one. He cared about the people and he cared about everything and he did it, but it was a different type of leadership. And if you want to come back with a reply to me, you could go like this. You get the feeling that Elisha is more personable and more involved with the people as opposed to being more above the nation, both caring, both being unbelievably caring, but the way they do it is with a more distanced type of approach. You should say, I'm not saying you're right. It's a more distanced approach, but of course unbelievable, and of course without them the nation would have dissolved and disintegrated. But his is you could turn to and say it's a more personable one, a more or down to earth one, or closer to the average.
What was necessary in his way for his generation?
Yeah. Now, no, more than that. No. From here on in, it doesn't work like that anymore.
It's-
Yeah, but
it's-
up to now, Eliyahu's type was needed.
For the last 500 years.
But it's gonna.
This is gonna
a-
be the one that goes forward.
a
It's
shift.
a new,
There's
a new.
shift in methodology.
And that shift is changing the way everything gets done, not just for this generation.
Right.
From now on, this is how you're gonna see the new leader. We're gonna stop here because it's very late.
Yeah, one second.
Yeah.
Why do you go from 76 to this?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good question.
I just remember, I can't figure it out.
That's a very good question. From here, we're gonna go to the end of the Eliyahu. I'll just let you know. We're gonna next week go to the end of the Eliyahu story, and we're gonna go to the famous scene of him going up with the
Yeah.
thing, and then we're gonna read the first 12 chapters of Kings 2. 12 chapters we have to go through. And however, what?
Put it on the chat. Read it.
Oh, yes, everybody who's listening, if you want, we're not gonna do 12 chapters next week, even if you read it, but if you read those first 12 chapters,
It's easy reading.
it's
Yeah.
easy reading and it's
Yes.
Melachim bit, yeah. Or it starts at, it goes all the way, I'll tell you where it stops.
6 months ago, those-
Let me tell you where it stops.
Heads or tails here. We read a chapter, we have no idea what's.
I'll tell you where it stops.
Put down the name.
Let me, wait,
Now you know, now you know you don't.
yeah,
Wait till you get to the bear story.
let me tell you where it ends. It ends, yeah, go, just read to the end of 13, to the end of 13. 13, not 12, 13.
Sounds like.
Yeah, all the way to, so it's all gonna be about Elisha's life. By the way, that when you see that, be aware of the fact that Elisha's life takes up 13 chapters.
Says there 8 after that?
Yeah,
That's it.
no.
Is it?
But it's not a lot.
25 is the end of the book.
I think 25.
Right.
So 13 chapters, a huge percent
Plus a couple
of
chapters.
Sefer Melachim.
Plus in-
All of Sefer, a huge percent, it was all about Elisha.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be the one that's the marker, you know? And it's interesting, the paradigm shift takes place with him, and Melachim is split at that juncture. You know, remember, that's Melachim Bet, that's where the paradigm shift takes.
You lose this
So-
idea.
So when they split the scroll, whatever reason that they said, that's a good place to split it, you know, when Elisha.
They
Takes
put it
over.
after 13 chapters?
No.
No.
Melachim Aleph to Bet.
Melachim Aleph to Melachim Bet. Melachim Bet, Kings 2 starts with Elisha,
Got it.
right? For 13 chapters, right? So a big chunk of the book and the card. Okay, gentlemen, everybody online, I hope you enjoyed. Good to see all of you. Gabby and Isaac. Zach, is that my grandson-in-law over there?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, I'm so happy. I hope you enjoyed.
Fantastic.
Great. And it was good to see you, Gabby. And David, good to see you. And Joey, my brother Joe, good to see you, Yosef. Everybody have a good evening, and we'll continue with God's help next week.
I think you can publish it somewhere.
How many-
Now, if I just end the recording ends, I have to hit it and say stop recording, right?
I guess so. Just the record button and then.
Record, stop recording. There you go. Oh, stop.